Happy birthday, Bill Cosby. Happy birthday, Bill Cosby. Happy birthday, William Henry Cosby Jr., also known as Bill Cosby, also known as Dr. Bill Cosby, also known as America's Dad. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Bill Cosby. Wish you amplified blessings of longevity, good health, real wealth, peace, love, and happiness, and so many more years of Black man joy, Black excellence. You are in it to win it. You prove that one should never give in, give up, or give out. May the righteous ancestors continue to guide you on your journey. And know, in the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. And thank you for letting us know that when Black manhood stands up, everybody else pays attention and follow lead. Love you madly. Do you know what today is? It's your special day. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Whoa, it's your birthday. Talking about it's your birthday. And today is yours. Guess who's back? Back again. It's Brother Ron. Welcome, family, to another wonderful, entertaining, edutaining edition of The Artivist Thinks We All Be. News-free Dixie for the 21st century. I could not have let this day go by without honoring the man, William Henry Cosby Jr., also known as Dr. Bill Cosby, who is still, as far as I'm concerned, America's dad. Great day. Fascinating day. There's a lot of things going on this week. Just glad I was able to do this broadcast on the exact date of his debut. And Bill Cosby, I'm sure he's living it up, feeling good being with his family and friends. I think they had a birthday dinner. He talked about it on his social media. I'm just glad that, he didn't have the big jazz concert like I thought he would have. Because, I did a birthday tribute to Dr. Cosby a year ago around the same time. And matter of fact, let me just play that, that birthday tribute we did. And thank you, Sister Black Mama, for your donation. We love you madly. A true, consistent supporter of We All Be. Knowledge is the currency of the universe, but we still got to pay our light bill so we can help share that knowledge. So thank you all who have been contributing, buying t-shirts and whatnot, and things of that like. But before I get too deep into it, let me just play the birthday tribute from last year. And what a difference a year makes, right? And sanity. All this so-called mob justice never served us any well. This week is a very important week. July 16th is the Happy Life Affirmation Day anniversary of the one and only Ida B. Wells Barnett. They're going to be unveiling, it's going to be a great unveil. They're going to be unveiling a life-size statue of the great Ida B. Wells Barnett on Beale Street at right at Church Park near her former office, which, from my understanding, used to be located at First Baptist on Bill, or Bill First Baptist. She was a hell of on newspaper, the Free Speech and the Headlight. And at one point, it was headquartered in that church. But from my understanding, Ida Wells was ran out the South because he told the truth about the nature of lynchings. 3 of her friends got lynched, in particular Thomas Moss, prominent Black leader of Memphis and proprietor of the People's Grocery Store. It's known as the People's Grocery Lynchings, or the lynching at the curb, which took place March 9th, 1892. But Ida B. Wells made her name. She's arguably the mother of investigative journalism in America. I'm gonna just put that label on her because white folks love to put labels on Black people. Unfavorable, unflattering labels. But let me just say that she is the mother of American investigative journalism because she risked her life and reputation on telling the truth. She stood on truth. She was really a truth teller. She led a one-woman anti-lynching brigade or movement for about 8 years, 7 years. One woman traveling not only across America, but across Europe to try to get sympathy and empathy for Black folks catching hell in North America. So they're going to unveil a statue of her on her birthday, July 16th, Friday morning. And it's interesting, Bill Cosby's birthday is July 12th. And, you know, he was lynched by the system, the Just Us system. Like what Clarence Thomas said those years ago. I still remember the Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas thing. And I was a little kid, but I remember visiting my great grandfather in the hospital and hearing my mom and relatives talk about the case like it was yesterday. I remember that. It's about 11 years young. But remember when Clarence Thomas said it was a high-tech lynching. What happened to Bill Cosby was most definitely a high-tech lynching. And what people got to understand, like Ida B. Wells' good friend Thomas Moss unfortunately found out that most of the victims of America's lynching, which is really America's pastime, the lynching of Black folks and souls, most of them were business people. It was about economic intimidation, economic control. So I can get out onto a tangent, but I hope y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me see the chat. Okay. I think he did. He got him a fresh cut, you know, Billy from Philly. I call him Billy from Philly. Yeah, it still goes on, and Black folks are so helpless and hapless right now. I mean, I really don't give a damn about I don't really care right now about sports, the Olympics. I don't care. Black women can have their swimming caps, and when Black folks catching hell, you know, y'all talking about Black women, that Sha'Carri Richardson, no disrespect to her, but what about Sandra Bland? What about Sandra Bland? Who are all the women talking about the outrage that is 6 years later? We still don't know what happened, what really happened to Sandra Bland. What happened to Sandra Bland? Okay. But let me play what I said last year for Dr. Bill Cosby. And then we'll get into all the other stuff. And cause I want to play some things because we got to reclaim the narrative. I'm all about reclaiming the narrative, right? So let's reclaim the narrative because it's like we still got new Black media, but we still got some growing up to do. Because a lot of us, we still perpetuate BS. We don't really make it clear or make it plain for the people to understand or overstand, but really transpire. There was no technicality. It was a lynching. It was a character lynching, a physical lynching. They tried to kill him in prison. And he survived because he had the righteous ancestors and the universe soul God on his side. Dr. Bill Cosby. So we keep on, what's technicality? No, they didn't prove it. It's like when you talk about that, it's like, you know, we go around, a lot of us go around saying that Al Capone was a killer. Then that was proven in the court of law that he was a killer. They got him an income tax invasion. And the way they got him an income tax invasion was questionable because they violated his rights. And that's another story. I'm not going to get into that because we're not talking about Al Capone. But this makes the case, y'all say he's a killer. Y'all never proved legally that he was a killer. It's not on Al Capone to prove that he is a killer or not a killer. It's on the state to make their case that Al Capone was a killer. And even though we have innuendo and suspicion and allegations, He was never proven in the court of law to be a killer. So you cannot call Al Capone legally a killer. But we know Uncle Sam was a killer. Okay. So let me play the one I did for him last year. And I'm glad it came true that he's out. He's not out on bail. Bill Cosby, in so many ways, is being exonerated. There's no technicality. He never should have been tried in the first place. He was violated. So y'all forget all that asterisk bull crap y'all want to do. This ain't baseball where you can put an asterisk against Barry Bonds' home run records. And that's a travesty in itself. Not because of Barry Bonds, but they actually lynched Barry Bonds' career. See, we don't talk about how these folks circumvent people's livelihoods and reputations and without even a burden of proof. I mean, they never proved Barry Bonds used anything in a court of law. And y'all go along with that BS. Y'all just want to be around white folks at all costs. It's a damn travesty. Happy birthday, Dr. Bill Cosby. 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 I want to wish Dr. Bill Cosby a wonderful Happy Life Affirmation Day on this July 12th, 2020. May this be the last birthday you celebrate behind bars. May the next one be a grand jazz concert where you'll be free as a bird to celebrate. Like your man Charlie Parker, you can fly up into the atmosphere, brother Cosby. We salute you, brother. I wish there's a way that President Donald Trump could get you out of jail. If he can pardon Jack Johnson, possibly. If he thinking about pardoning the great Marcus Garvey, possibly, he can get you out while you're living. I hope I'm gonna put that out in the universe. Forget all that Hershey politics up in Pennsylvania, that Hershey Highway politics up in Pennsylvania. Let's get this brother free. Somebody tell Donald Trump, Kim Kardashian, somebody get in Donald Trump's ear and say, free Bill Cosby. But I want to talk about, before I get off here, I want to wish, I hope he's having a great birthday in spite of all the things that's happened to him. He is truly a living legend. He has did more for people than we know and that we actually give him credit for. Once again, let me repeat, Bill Cosby, Dr. Bill Cosby has done a lot for Black people and for humanity. In spite of whatever flaws he may possess as a human being, he has did some exceptional things for our people. And it's one thing I want to bring up to contrast. We must heighten the contradictions when we talk about Bill Cosby and his condition as well as his legacy. People talk about the pound cake speech from 2004. But what has stayed with me since I was in college at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, not Missouri, not Missouri, but Missouri, the state of Missouri, what stayed with me from almost 20 years ago was reading about Dr. Bill Cosby in the Black newspaper known as the St. Louis American. I don't know if it's still Black owned, but it was Black back then. There's importance to be played by the Black media, the new Black media of today. But what I remembered so vividly, like it was actually yesterday, was the fact that Dr. Bill Cosby was the first national celebrity of any renown to boycott Cincinnati, Ohio, for police brutality against Black people, in particular Black hetero males. He knew back in the early 2000s that Black lives mattered, and he protested against doing any events in Cincinnati because how they were treating Black folks via police brutality in the so-called Queen City. That was Bill Cosby. This is just several years before the pound cake speech. See, if you want to talk about that, you got to balance it out. You got to heighten the contradictions when it comes to Mr. Cosby. So you can understand that, we as people are contradictory, not necessarily hypocrites. To me, to be human is to be complex, is to be contradictory. To me, a hypocrite is a person that knows about these contradictions, but does not acknowledge the contradictions in humanity. So y'all can Google that up. Bill Cosby was the first celebrity to boycott Cincinnati because their police brutality issue was still relevant, unfortunately, today
for the whole nation. Like Brother Malcolm X said, anything south of Canada is the South. America is Mississippi. So with that said, I want to wish Brother Dr. Bill Cosby many more life affirmation days. I wish you longevity, good health, real wealth, peace, love, and happiness, and so many more things that you are very deserving of. I thank the Most High for sending you a great and beautiful partner in Dr. Camille Cosby, a very patient, brilliant, and empathetic woman. Very much a great articulator of your message. But I want to also encourage those in the new black media. It's time for us to reclaim the narrative and to tell these stories that need to be heard. Or you must, in the words of my Jegna, the late great Judge D. Army Bailey, who passed away 5 years ago on July 12th, we must amplify, amplify, amplify. So with that said, we love you madly, Dr. Bill Cosby. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. And we all must keep on pushing and producing. Free Bill Cosby. Free them all. Free Bill Cosby. Free them all. Free Bill Cosby. Free them all. See how it works? Somewhere. Greetings, family. This is Brother Ron, letting you all know that I am a man, and so is Bill Cosby. Free Bill Cosby. Free them all. One love.
And we reclaimed the narrative. That was me from a year ago, wishing Dr. Bill Cosby well on his birthday. He's out a year later, not out on bail, but free. And somebody in the chat, Brother Don Williams. Oh, yes, you can prove it. There's the receipts. The paper trail is out there. You just need to do the research. It's not hard to prove Uncle Sam is the killer by law. They snitched on themselves. Uncle Sam snitched on himself. Uncle Sam can't keep quiet. Uncle Sam is very loquacious about his high crimes and misdemeanors. Nah, it could be proven. Y'all just need to do the research. And thank you, Sister Monique. Enjoyed you on you bust your cherry on was it Brother Bernard King BJ show? That was a very interesting show. You look just like your avatar. You're gorgeous. So thank you for tuning in. Oh, sunshine on a cloudy day. Oh, it's nighttime. The sun is out. Thank you, Sister Sunshine, for tuning in. You said you wanted a Cosby show or you want another podcast. Well, here it is. I'm doing it on Bill Cosby birthday. So, oh yeah, it's the late night live stream. Late night live. It's all the way live, and it's late night. It's the late show. Yes, artwork is on sale. Go to r2c2h2.com. I got some. I have a whole bunch of artwork. This is some of my artwork. And also you can hit me up r2c2h2@gmail.com if you're really serious about art. Some of my original art, but I sell prints as well. And also you could buy the shirts. I sell the shirts, go below the description box. Teespring shelf, access that. I got a lot of my shirts. I don't think everybody who's been buying shirts and art prints. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all help keeping the lights on and keeping gas in my car to get these stories. I got a lot of great stories to share. I got stuff that I have, show in places I've been, I haven't yet to report fully on. So I got a lot of footage that I need to edit, but it is what it is. Things happen. But thank you for your interest. Summer or so. I got to check it out. Let me know where I can see that, and I'll let you know. Sound like it's about just like music. Ooh. Music, right? Oh yeah, yeah. You definitely, a star is born. He actually looked well rested to me. Now I don't stay in touch with Mr. Fuller. I actually gave him a We All Be Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2016. I was in the DC area for Dr. Francis Cress Wilson Memorial Celebration. And nearly even at that time, he wasn't meeting with people. He wasn't really doing interviews, but I recorded a phone conversation we had that's on my We All Be TV channel. But he actually wrote me and let me know that he appreciated the acknowledgement, but he was not going to do anything, like be able to meet in person or doing interviews with me. I mean, he does interviews, but my thing is respect to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Dr. Neely Fuller. We call him Doctor because he has dedicated his life to the upliftment and empowerment and liberation of so-called black people. But it's time for our generations and people to step up and add something to that narrative, because as things change, things remain the same. But we gotta practice liberation. I remember I talked to Dr. Neely Fuller on the phone. That only time I talked to him on the phone back in 2016 when I was in the DC area. I told him about this documentary called The Coconut Revolution. If y'all never seen this, I don't know if it's still out there. It's called The Coconut Revolution. I want to say it came out about 20 years ago. It talks about these Aboriginal, melanated people living in this island off the coast of Australia who fought the corporations. Like they fought this big mining corporation who was destroying the ecosystem of their island. And what they did, this is like amazing. They used coconut to fight this battle. They used coconut to create some type of fuel to run the abandoned vehicles on the island. They used the coconut as a weapon. I mean, they was just had all these like how George Washington Carver used the peanut, all these different ways to use the peanut. These Aboriginal, these melanated people was using the coconut to defeat this white supremacist European corporation. The documentary showed they were winning, but I think that some of the leaders now are long dead. They were killed by these corporations, but they were taking on the military. They're hired military mercenaries, and they was winning. But it's called the Coconut Revolution. Yeah, Ben Branch was the last person that Dr. King spoke to before he was shot in the face. I actually gave Dr. Ben Branch's widow a Lifetime Achievement Award. I gave him a Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award, and I gave it to his wife back in 2017. His wife was living at the time. I don't know if she's still alive, but she was living in Memphis because Dr. Ben Branch was in Chicago, and he was the leader of the Operation Breadbasket Band for Jesse Jackson. He had a hell of a saxophone. See, Memphis, we produce a lot of phenomenal jazz musicians. We don't get credit for it because people look at Memphis, they think about barbecue and blues and rock and roll. But a lot of great jazz musicians, in particular saxophonists, came out of Memphis. And Dr. Ben Branch was one of them great saxophonists. Came through a great school system with music education. Today is also the anniversary of the mysterious death of one of my favorite people of all time, Jimmy Lunsford. And y'all know, a lot of y'all learned about Jimmy Lunsford. I know Real Black put up that reel. He said this from 1935. I believe actually it was from 1936, that reel he had. But I've been talking about Jimmy Lunsford for years. And Jimmy Lunsford is credited with being the first person to teach jazz studies in a formal educational setting. He did that on his own. He didn't get no grant. He had no tenureship or nothing like that. He just did it on his own. And Dr. Ben Branch benefited from that legacy that Jimmy Lunsford started in the 20s because his music teacher at Douglas, I think he went to Douglas High School, was a protege of Jimmy Lunsford. So Jimmy Lunsford has an amazing legacy coaching tree. And all these people he trained, they end up training all these great musicians. So that's what's missing right now. The music education is not as prominent or well-funded like it should be in our so-called miseducation system. But I gave Dr. Ben Brandt's widow Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award when I had a ceremony on Jimmy Lunsford's birthday at Elmwood Cemetery where he's buried. I had that ceremony June the 6th, 2017. Yeah. I said I'm gonna do a Mega Evans episode. Okay, but Mega Evans is very important to talk about. Like I said, Dick Gregory was brought in by Mega Evers, and we was blessed to be able to talk to Dick Gregory directly about his relationship with Mega Evers and what he meant to the movement. Yeah, y'all know what, when I did my longer than the actual movie review, I played a clip of me talking to Dick speaking on Mega Evers from 2013. And like my thing is, I got hours of Dick Gregory stuff, and I got stuff I haven't released. I don't know if I'm gonna ever release it, but I just keep it. We'll see. Yeah, y'all didn't check out Coconut Revolution. Them people were amazing. They took on like mercenaries with all this high tech weaponry with coconut. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. Yes, we need more likes. We need more likes. We need more likes. Yes, yes. Yeah, Memphis cats all over the place, man. Dr. Ben Branch, legendary saxophonist, musician. Dr. King's favorite, his favorite singer, it was not Mahalia Jackson. Mahalia was a big supporter and close friend of Dr. King, but this guy named J. Robert Bradley, look up J. Robert Bradley. He was a singer from South Memphis. He was discovered by I guess he called Dr. Lucy Campbell. I think her name Lucy Campbell. The mother of gospel music, used to teach at Booker T. Washington for decades. And Booker T. Washington was the same school that produced Maurice White, the architect and visionary behind Earth, Wind, and Fire. Memphis is a very powerful city. But Lucy Campbell discovered the guy. Lucy Campbell also trained Mahalia Jackson. She also trained Marian Anderson, very prominent music educator and visionary from Duck Hill, Mississippi. Lucy Campbell from Mississippi. I know somebody said on one, I think Bug Shelton, about black folks. There's some special black people from Mississippi. Yeah, Mississippi black folks are very interesting people. Mississippi got some very powerful black people from Mississippi, have a unique heritage. I don't know what it is. A lot of my people from Mississippi, but if you just look at it from a music standpoint, you look at the Grammys, there are more Grammy nominated and winning artists connected to the state of Mississippi than any state in the union. You got more Grammy winners connected to Mississippi or nominees than any other place in the country. And I think the second Grammy Museum is located. I went to that Grammy Museum down in Cleveland. It's I guess the only one outside of LA. I'm not sure. Y'all don't quote me on that. Y'all can look it up. But Mississippi is a very interesting place. All right. Yeah. I talked to David Porter. Amazing songwriter. Used to write songs with Isaac Hayes and Stax. A lot of this hip hop stuff, they benefited from sampling the music, written by David Porter and Isaac Hayes at Stax. And David Porter actually told me this unique story where he talked to Maurice White when Maurice told him about the vision that he had for this band, for Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I got that on the We All Be TV channel as well. So Memphis is a small, big place. It's not that big. Small place. Like when people want to know if you're from Memphis, a lot of things, the first thing they ask you is, what high school you go to? What high school you graduated from? That's how Memphis folks ask. Are you from Memphis? Or tell me where hey, what high school you go to? I mean, I met this sister named Jaleesa at the Tribeca Festival back on Juneteenth when I went to see the Dick Gregory thing. And I said, I'm from Memphis. You from Memphis? Yeah, I'm from Memphis. I said, where you from? I'm from Boxtown. Yeah, she's from Memphis because she said she's from Boxtown. And we up in the middle of Battery Park in New York. I said, yeah, this is Memphis right here. She didn't say I'm from Beale Street or some stuff like that. She said, I'm from Boxtown. I said, okay. And David Porter, I mean, he take care of himself. David Porter got that long money. He getting that long money. That think about all the hits that he wrote back in the day. He living off that money, man. Money, 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 money. Yes, happy birthday, Dr. Cos. All right, G Boot, the counselor. Good show with Tom Meserow. Good stuff. And congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers. I guess well earned, hard earned, and deserved. But let's see. Yeah, Lillian. Shout out to Sister Lillian Gregory. She's the reason why I was able to get in touch with Baba Dick Gregory. Like I said in the film, you could not connect with Baba Dick Gregory without his wife being there. Sometimes she'd be on the phone listening in, but she was the one that was responsible for booking his shows and interviews. So shout out to Mama Lillian. Had a chance to thank her once again. And all you so-called Dick Gregory fans, remember that February 2nd is their wedding anniversary. And Mama Lillian was prepared for this life because she was the daughter of a very prominent minister in Ohio. So she was used to, father figures or male figures being gone for periods of a time from the home. So she was prepared for their life to deal with Baba Dick Gregory. She's doing fine, man. They taking care of her. I mean, I saw her in New York. She's like, she's looking good. She got a large family. I think one of her daughters live with her. So she's taken care of. As far as I look, she looks good, looks alert. Yeah, she's lived a good life, lived a very interesting life. So shout out to her. Yeah, Four Grill, that's a very popular stop. Actually, Four Grill is located from the spot where the People's Grocery Store used to be back in the day. And they got the historic marker there where Ida B. Wells' best friend Thomas Moss and his business partners Calvin McDowell and William Henry Stewart was making a lot of good money. Memphis back in the day was like the fifth largest wholesale grocery market in the country. This back in the late 19th century. And Thomas Moss and them was making good money, and they were killed because they were successful Black businessmen. They were not killed because they were raping and killing and pillaging. That's what white folks do. They were killed because they were successful Black business people, and they were investing in their community, and they were upright, outstanding young Black men of character and distinction. Yeah, David Port, I gave him an award too. David's an interesting guy. He tried to connect with some people I never followed up like I should have, but it is what it is. The Lillian Gregory is an awesome woman. And I told her I need me a Lillian in my life. Come in, people talking about, I want a husband like Dick Gregory or Malcolm X. No, you don't. You want somebody that's going to be at home with you, raise them kids. And Mama Lil took on a lot of responsibility, but like Dick Gregory said, two of the strongest forces in American history is the Black woman and the Black church. So speaking of Dick Gregory, I'm always play his thoughts on Cosby. See, I don't get a lot of credit. I'm going to be like Little Richard. I'm always going to be like Little Richard to y'all because I was on the Bill Cosby thing since 2014. Now, I interviewed Judge, all this stuff that Judge Joe Brown is saying now, he was saying back then. Now, I even took Judge out for lunch, after his birthday at Olive Garden back in July of 2015. He was saying the same stuff that y'all see go viral. He was saying it on my platform back in 2014, 2015. Dick Gregory talked about the Bill Cosby situation. Dick Gregory was real close. Was very, very, very close to Bill Cosby. He never threw Bill Cosby under the bus. He never talked ill of Bill Cosby. I mean, he did his stand-up. He said some funny jokes, but he'll tell some hard truths. And Dr. Bill Cosby came to Dick's homegoing in Maryland with his wife, Dr. Camille. But I'm going to play this with Dick Gregory in his own words. He told me about Dr. Bill Cosby's situation. And also I'm going to share some things here. I think it's weird that I hear so-called new Black media people talking about, well, it's an urban legend that Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC. No, it's not an urban legend. Why y'all just can't go on your smartphone and smarten up and look it up? He did try to buy NBC several times. Even when his son got killed, that Jackson girl came out just days after his son got killed on a 405 in LA, trying to blackmail him. And her mother was one of the accusers. And y'all say silly stuff. Like y'all say, well, there was 60 women that accused him. They got to be telling the truth. Well, how many white folks burned down Black Wall Street? How many white folks burned down Rosewood? So all them people did what they did. That mean they were true about what they standing on truth too. The white folks that lynched Ida Well's friend and his business associates, because there were so many of them, they must have been standing on truth. So they was right about that too, huh? Y'all logic don't add up, and so they don't make no sense. And y'all need to stop confusing passion with emotionalism. Y'all, it's weird that y'all don't want to feel anything. That means you want to be subhuman and inhuman. You want to be just like the folks that'll kill you for looking them in the eye, for not getting out the sidewalk. Y'all want to be inhumane? Come on, man. Ain't nothing wrong with being passionate. Don't confuse passion with being emotional. Y'all confuse passion. Kobe was passion. He was passionate about basketball. That's why he was able to excel, because he used his passion to help discipline himself. So a lot of y'all ain't living full lives. Like, I like going a lot of places by myself, but people want to tag along. I mean, I like to drive hundreds of miles across the country just to have a good conversation. But I got folks around me that just always want to tag along. And you see, I'm used to being by myself. I'm used to not being popular and not having the support for certain things I know is right to do. That reveals who you are to yourself. A lot of y'all afraid to be by yourself along with your thoughts, because it's scary to try to get to know who you really are. Then things that you thought you was over, trauma that's been suppressed, start making regular visits, and you got to confront these things. You got to confront these demons or whatever. But anyway, I'm getting carried away. Let me play Baba D. Gregory, his final response on the Cosby thing. And this We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Thank y'all for tuning in and being patient. I'm going to keep it on the 2 hours. If I can. Lord help me.
This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Huh? Bill Cosby and all that motherfucking trouble, and you don't figure it out. You niggas like gossip. Huh? Yo, white motherfucker don't give a fuck about a nigga after you. Then take fuck anybody you want. They don't give a fuck. Huh? So why you saw Bill Cosby? White folks loved him so much. He was doing Jello commercials with white children on his back eating Jello putting out this nigga's head. You saw him? He thought them crackers loved him. And he my friend. Huh? But he ain't figured these motherfuckers out. How do a motherfucker kill your son and you can't do no Jello commercials no more? Bill ain't kill nobody. Huh? Kill your son. And he can't do no yellow commercial.
Come on.
What they didn't tell you is 30-some years ago when he got in trouble, him and Ed Weinberg was about to buy NBC. And they said, he can, but the nigga can't. Them crackers that loved him. He was called Dr. What? You ever heard a motherfucker named Huxtable? Oh, you don't like it. You ever heard a nigga named Dr. Huxtable? That name didn't threaten white folks, so they give him something that never existed. Oh, Dr. Huxtable. And now this new shit they have to be about, it work with your ass, because all you want to hear is some gossip. Gossip. That land that motherfucker owns in Pennsylvania, Bill, got more oil under the ground than Kuwait. You think that might be it? Just tell me, how long Bill been blind? There was some white motherfucker say he was blind. Bill ain't never said he blind. Never be stoned a nigga drunk. You hear me? Say he drugging bitches to get some pussy. Y'all been married, you know you got that bitch drunk, the hoe go to sleep. Pussy don't make you want to give up some pussy. This was shit they put in it. That's why the bitch woke up like that and said, I don't know what got into me. I did, bitch. So I would go put you through some tests.
Right.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
That somebody said, and when I come in, I sit on the show and throw you with something.
Mm-hmm.
I want you coming back with some crazy shit that you grew up with.
Yes, sir.
You got to know that I'm one of the most ethical people on the planet. And certain things out here, I'll say, well, now, you know, you ought to research your Cosby. I'll say that to you right now. But where you start off, go to the Freedom of Information Act.
Come on, Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. And see what they got. That he don't even.
Some people say our trade-in process feels too easy. They can't believe it's 100% online.
No. Now, when you go to them, they'll give you 100,000 pieces at $10 or $10 a dime a shot. Where you get the money? That's how they overload it. Huh?
Yes, sir.
But the way you get the question out there without spending money, I said, we all need to go to the Freedom of Information Act and see about the property that Bill Cosby owns in Pennsylvania has more oil under it than Kuwait.
Wow.
Now, you didn't say it did. You said, under the Freedom of Information, this is what now, the people who love you know what you just said.
Right.
Then we can figure out the other stuff is not making sense. Okay? Or they got a trial coming up next June.
Bill Cosby?
For Bill Cosby. The white woman is the one he already settled with in court.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So how you resettle? No, this might be the trick. It might be something they won't be able to do. Okay? So we got a trial coming up, and all them lawyers is looking at it, because them poor women ain't got no money. But if he loses that, then they can take your case.
Wow.
But if he wins it, then they know I might be working for free. See, there's all kind of deals they make. Huh?
Yes, sir.
But you've already put it out there. Now somebody said, well, did you hear what he said? And at some point between now and a few minutes, Michael Jordan, Neverland, had more oil on it than Bill Cosby's.
The Neverland Ranch, Michael Jackson.
Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And then also you look at Neverland is right down the way from Santa Barbara.
Yes, sir.
One of the biggest oil deposits in the world. You think some of it didn't spill off? That's what this is about. That's what this is about.
But have you talked to Bill lately about his health? I know people are concerned.
Man, I don't need to talk to her. Who told you? Did Bill tell you?
No, sir.
Fine?
No,
Did
sir.
Bill, huh?
No, sir.
So why am I talking to him about his health? All that shit is gossip, man.
And there was Dick Gregory. I love Dick. Yeah, I was down in Atlanta. This was back in September 2016. I was at the Uptown Comedy Club. He wanted me to record his act. And so I got, some things and stuff. But yeah. So I've been talking to Dick Gregory. I talked to him about the Bill Cosby thing back in 2014. And if you go on my channel on We All Be TV, we have like a 30-something minute excerpt from that conversation we had about Dr. Bill Cosby. And Dick will always say, he never sit at a bar, because that's how you get set up. Don't sit at the bar, sit somewhere else. Don't sit at the bar. Think about, I don't know what Cuba Gooding Jr. was sitting in that restaurant, but these people play these games, man. The games. So Bob Dick Gregory told you, Freedom of Information Act. And so people don't want to believe that Bill Cosby made a lot of powerful enemies. And I'm gonna play what Paul Mooney had to say. I had a chance to talk to Paul Mooney. I mean, yeah, he was a fiery person. He was ornery sometimes, but you gotta understand. Do yourself a favor, if you haven't seen that documentary that's on Showtime, the one and only Dick Gregory, go check that out. And then go read some of his books, look at the interviews. Dick Gregory put a lot on the line for our people. And you got to understand, he's 84 years old. Think about the people he lost. I mean, his best friends died before they turned 40, and they were family men, people like Medgar Evers and Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Think about the career sacrifices that he had to make. Think about a lot of things he sacrificed to try to help liberate Black people in particular, and humanity in general. So, as I look on it, yeah, I had issues with him sometimes going off on me, but in hindsight, it made me stronger and resilient, and I'm able to push forward, because I had people I know I wanted to introduce to Dick Gregory, and they was afraid, and because he might curse me out. I said, well, no guts, no glory. If he cursed you out and say, how's the family, that means he loved you and respect you. And I remember one of his family members said, he never cursed me out. I said, he might not never ever loved your ass. You thought you was loved. People thought they was like, oh, Dick Gregory never cursed me out. I mean, I heard, but then I had talked to his family. They said, well, Ron, you part of the family, because that's how you treat us. The only thing is that you caught it on camera, whereas we just catch it, off camera. So what they said, he been through a lot, man. And God bless his soul. And even in death, he can't rest. He's everywhere. He gave a whole lot of money. That's right. So we got to honor that, man. Because I know I'm 41, and I can understand a little bit. I don't know how it is to be at 41. You could have I have some aches and pains. So I can't imagine how it is to be 81. I don't know if I could be this patient, because I've been very patient with people for a long, long time. I don't know if I could be patient if I'm still going through the same stuff at 81 that I was going through at 41, but with more wear and tear and less time on the horizon. No problem. No problem. It's all about love. It's love. Somebody said that G Boot, the counselor. I don't know, man. I'm not Nicole. Shout out to Nicole's View. If y'all want to know, Nicole been on it, man. I saw that Robert Russell interview, Andrea Constance's former boyfriend. If y'all want to get deep into that Cosby thing, Nicole's View. And also this young man here, G Boot 2786. Tom Mesereau interviews are great. People go crazy over the Vlad TV sensationalism stuff because he interviewed Tom Mesereau. But actually, Gavin did it first, and he actually had Tom on last week. That's Michael Jackson's former lawyer, Bill Cosby, former lawyer, and also he was a lawyer for Suge Knight. And Gavin, being a lawyer himself, asks excellent questions. And I really enjoyed those Tom Mesereau interviews. Check out his stuff. And congratulations once again on 1,000. Man, they blocked me on Twitter, man. years ago. I think Andrew White or one of the publicist people blocked me. I didn't even do nothing. I did like a podcast about Bill Cosby. It was nothing necessarily negative. And I tagged Cosby on Twitter in it. Next thing I know, they blocked me. I've been blocked for several years on Twitter by the Bill Cosby people. I'm not saying Bill Cosby did it, but they let you know that even though, although I've been blocked by the Cosby people on Twitter for whatever silly reason, that don't mean Cosby's guilty. You understand? That don't mean, no, he blocked me on Twitter. I heard some of these black male comedians talking about, well, Cosby didn't like my act. He didn't like Def Comedy Jam. So the hell with Cosby. So you saying it's okay for somebody to get railroaded because they didn't like your act? They didn't laugh at your corny jokes? Come on, man. So like, yeah, Bill Cosby, his people, not Bill Cosby. I don't think his people blocked me. And I don't know if it was Andrew White, but I don't have no animosity. And I would love to have him on if you want to be on. Shit, I would love to see Bill Cosby do stand-up and meet Bill Cosby. Like I said, but we've been talking about Cosby since 2014, pro Cosby stuff. Like interviewing Dick Gregory. See, y'all honest, Dick Gregory was very, very close to Bill Cosby. It's certain things Dick Gregory said and didn't say, but he never spoke negatively. You know, the most negative, I guess you would say, was be that stand-up routine that I recorded for him, but it wasn't even negative. He was trying to shine light. You know, our people, we very toxic. We're very toxic people. We focus a lot of time. We vibrate at low frequencies. So you got to get in the mud and get dirty and nasty with the language, but the message is sound. He's telling y'all Cosby made a lot of powerful people mad. So let me play what Paul Mooney said on my show about Bill Cosby. I had a chance to interview Paul Mooney a couple of times. And it's weird because when I recorded this, I didn't know like I used my phone recorder thing and it come out all fuzzy and stuff. And people say, well, you don't know what you're doing. I said, well, I guess I don't know what I'm doing. But I did get a clean Paul Mooney on my Blog Talk show back in 2014, clean audio or whatever. And when I started getting all this money into my foundation, into my nonprofit, I can get the people to put to clean the audio better and what they call this stuff, the caption, all that stuff. And you just help me get millions of dollars in grant money, and I can get that done. But anyway, this is Paul Mooney. May the righteous ancestors be pleased. Paul Mooney on Bill Cosby on We All Be. This is from July the 20th, 2015. So, I mean, we're in July right now. So, y'all enjoy. I'll be right back. One love.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Let me ask you this as well, concerning the Bill Cosby situation. That's another thing people want me to ask you about. What about
Bill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bill Cosby. I'm one of Bill Cosby's biggest fans. I love Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
He was everybody's favorite dad, so I love him. You know, and so the only mistake that Bill Cosby made was that he told on himself. He should have just kept his mouth shut.
That's right. Yes, sir.
You know, he told on himself. You know, because Bill Cosby. See, when Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC or ABC, whatever it was, when he did that, that's when them white folks got crazy.
Yes, sir.
See, he was everybody's favorite dad. And now they just trying to.
So you got that nigga wake up.
You know, so he got his wake up call. That's all. He got his black wake up call.
Yes, sir.
You know, now they're trying to destroy him. That's how white people do. That's what they do when you get out of line. They don't. You know, it's like it's military. All those are military moves. You know, the arena, the fall of the Roman Empire, the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everything that has an arena to it, it's with the descendants of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Everything is an arena. Football, baseball, name it. What is it? It's an arena.
That's true.
And just because you move something from one place to another doesn't change what it is. It is what it is. If I remove a car, a Ford from Texas to Mississippi, it's still a Ford.
Yes, sir.
Change what it is. They know that. They just want to know if we know.
Yeah, it was late great Paul Mooney on Bill Cosby, one of his colleagues, and he told it like it is. He got his wake up call. So yeah. Well, I don't really feel bad about them blocking me. I think it was a misunderstanding. And it's like what the problem is, like with Nicole, she should have been on the media team, Nicole from Nicole's View. I mean, she was on it. I mean, she's brilliant. She got that spirit of Ida B. Wells, that righteous indignation, like William Monroe Trotter, The Guardian, and she's part of that living legacy of Black media when it's excellent, like Daisy Bates. And I'm name dropping these folks. I hope y'all look them up. Look up Daisy Bates. Look up, y'all heard of Ida B. Wells, but look up William Monroe Trotter. She's in that tradition for me. As it relates to Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson, she loves Black men. She's raising a Black king. So Nicole's View been on it, and to me, she should have been the media person. I mean, truth be told, I mean, it was the grassroots media that saved Bill Cosby for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It was people like, Gavin doing what he doing. I'm doing what I've been doing since 2014. A lot of other people. And it's never been like the mainstream, safe establishment Negroes. It's been the grassroots field Negroes that have been carrying the water on what happened to Bill Cosby. So, and let me see. Shahrazad Ali. See, I got a lot. See, I got an archive. Yeah, I mean, people don't understand. It's like I'm living in a twilight zone where people trying to tell me about stuff that I've been knowing for years. No disrespect, but I've been knowing about this stuff for years. I've been doing a lot of stuff for years, doing this, putting in work. So, like, you see the results of the work now. I've been ahead of the curve on a lot of things, and it's not to brag, but I just want, trust and believe. But let me play now. Before I play Shahrazad Ali, let me play Judge Joe Brown, because we've been talking about this on my platform since early 2015 about the Cosby situation. So I'm gonna play I'm gonna play one Judge Joe Brown clip that we did at Olive Garden. One of his favorite places to eat is Olive Garden. So I treated a judge to a chicken parmesan or lasagna or something, and Judge was in the house, and Judge was in effect. So this is from actually July of 2015. This clip I'm going to play, Judge Joe Brown talking about the Cosby thing. And later in the show, we'll play something as well that he talked about, I believe, with that same year. But anyway, we all be News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
I guess we'll switch gears a little bit. I know I talked to you about the Bill Cosby thing, and since that time, a lot of new information came out. They said that he gave women quaaludes and stuff in the deposition that wasn't supposed to be leaked. And now his wife is saying that the women knew about the drugs and the alcohol and things of that nature. And I want to get your take on it from a legal and also a personal standpoint.
I think actually latches with its attached. Usually when you have a civil wrong, you got a year or two. When it's a tort or a personal injury situation, it's been 45 years. Mm-hmm. And if you waited that long, I'm always suspect, especially when you get this group thing. And in that day and time, the sexual revolution was hot and heavy, as was the recreational drug culture. And I can recall being at parties where some of the groupie types came in, took the tops off, then wound up naked, high, drunk as they could be. And a whole lot of people had their way with them, and they came back to the next party that group gave again and again. So I don't know. I'm just suspect. Actually, one of them that Whoopi Goldberg got on Beverly Johnson. He fed her all these drugs, and then when she got instantly high, and that must have been one hell of a dose of drugs to get instantly high, what did he wind up doing? He takes her downstairs in the elevator, calls a cab, puts her in the cab, and sends her home. He didn't say or claim she got anything done to her, but yeah, it's the media thing. We've got tabloid journalism, and we like to pick on important people and tear them down to size just for our entertainment instead of doing what used to be done, which is paying attention to what somebody's doing. In the scheme of things, considering the dynamics of groupies, whether they're sports groupies, entertainment groupies, rock stars, political groupies. Been my experience is that's why the groupies go to the functions to see if they can be groupies and sleep with the star or the athlete or the politician.
And that was Judge Joe Brown from July 17th, 2015. So the stuff that y'all think is viral, he was saying that for the longest. Judge been consistent in how he saw the Cosby thing. And we got a lot of extensive interviews we did with Judge over the verdicts and all this stuff, the travesty, the miscarriage of just us. So Judge was saying that back in 2015. He was very clear on what he saw with this case. And people said, well, they're going to get Judge. Judge is, whatever you think about Judge Joe Brown, he's well versed in the law. He's been a prosecutor, been a criminal defense attorney, been a judge. He knows a lot. They got to come. Judge is smart. He's smart about that law. So a lot of y'all just afraid just to say anything. Thank you, Sister Brown. I appreciate it. I received that. Unfortunately, it keeps me up at night. Hence the late show. It's like people just look, oh man, you see Giannis, you seen Chris Paul? How about them finals? Oh, look at, I can't wait for the Olympics. And I don't care about all this stuff. Not disrespecting people who do care about that type of stuff, but like I'm seeing what Dick Gregory was telling me about this gossip culture that we live in, and the stuff that we think matters doesn't really matter in the end, and that playtime is over. Okay, so Sister Lee. I mean, Bill said he got the drugs from his doctor. It was a doctor prescription. And people say he admit the drug. He didn't drug. He offered them as party drugs. Like if you read the deposition, the civil deposition, I think a deposition, he said that he offered it the way they asked the question. See, Bill got in trouble because he was honest, not because he's a liar or degenerate. He got in trouble because he answers the questions like they were asked. They never did follow up. They didn't clarify or try to do this. He said, yeah, I gave the girls drugs. But what's the context and the situation, and the culture and stuff? But our people kind of slow. But I think a lot of us waking up now. And like Camille, we got to be careful. People say, well, he cheated on his wife. I don't know if he cheated on his wife. I think Camille knew what she was getting when she got married to Bill back in 1964. I don't know they business like that, but it looks bad because he got caught up like anybody could, and he was human. And I don't know their arrangements. I ain't gonna go here and say he cheated, and people saying his family didn't see him in jail or in prison. From my understanding, from a different source, they said that Bill didn't want them to come to prison to see him. So people getting all into the emotional stuff. I mean, I don't care about all that. The point is he should never been in prison based on what they did not have to put him in prison, based on the deal that was made with the previous prosecutor. He should never, ever been in prison. And the fact that he could have took a plea and avoided all that, but yet he didn't take the plea. That's a man. Y'all Talking about these rappers and stuff. You talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine, Bill Cosby. You talking about Bobby Smurda. Bill Cosby did a Bobby Smurda. Oh hell, he didn't do a Bobby Smurda. He did a Bill Cosby is the last black leader left. He's the last black leader. He took one for the team. He did it for the culture. He's a legend in so many ways. But let me play what Shahrazad Ali had to say. You know, you take everything with a grain of salt. I had her on a couple of times, and I remember Sister Ali she emailed me to my, hey brother, can you take those down? I said, no, sister, you said what you said. I told you this going on the radio, my news. People think that we all don't get no reach. We get reach. It's just that they line about the numbers. We get the reach. I remember when Dick Gregory was telling MLK III, you need to do Brother Ron's show. That stuff gets out there, man. Cause you remember I asked Dick Gregory that I heard that a rumor that Hosea Williams and Dr. King were lovers and Coretta was a lesbian, See, people say all this stuff in their circles, but I just went to somebody who might be in the know. Yeah, Dick went off on me, but then he was going to say, and then Dick started saying, hey, you know, Jacob Hoover had a thing for Dr. King. He had a crush on Dr. King. And I didn't let him go. I wish I would have had allowed him to elaborate about this thing that Jacob Hoover had for King. Like he really had a thing for King, according to Baba Dick Gregory. But a lot of time I do a show and I ask him certain questions, Dick would pull me to the side and say, man, why come you didn't tell me you were going to ask that question? He said, how come you didn't tell? He didn't ever say, oh, you was wrong or all this. He just said, man, you kind of blindsided me, man. You didn't tell me you was going to go there. So a lot of y'all, I mean, it's entertainment, man. It's a game. Because Dick Gregory talk bad about people on my platform and other platforms. Next thing you see him at Oprah's house, hugging up with Tyler Perry and Magic Johnson. And I said, Dick, you were just talking bad about these people. He said, it's a game. It's a game. It's a game. But anyway, plays Ali clip. We all be news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Yeah, I also want to ask you this. I know I brought up Bill Cosby. I know you know what I mean. What's your take on the Bill Cosby situation?
Oh, it's probably true. I remember Bill Cosby just got black. I remember back in the day. See, one thing about being old, brothers, that you know the history. You was there.
Uh-huh.
I remember all that Bill Cosby with his wife now. It wasn't like that, brother. I remember when Bill Cosby didn't deal with nothing but white women. I remember when Dick Gregory didn't deal with nobody but white women.
Oh, really? Wow. So, I mean, like, why now, though? Do you think it's strange in the country when we had the Scottsboro boys and the Central Park people and Willie McGee who got electrocuted by the state of Mississippi for allegedly raping a white woman? Is it strange to have Bill Cosby get away with raping or sexually assaulting this many white women in this country?
Well, a lot of those white women, he was so rich and powerful and famous. A lot of those women thought they were going to get something. And all they got was a one-night stand, a slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, and he went on with his life. And now many of them have looked up, didn't keep a job long enough to get any Social Security. They don't have any retirement. And so many of them just coming out saying, you know, I know one person I did deal with, but most of these women were whores on some level anyway. They were whoring their way to success or Hollywood or whatever they were trying to do. Whenever you're dealing with a bunch of models, you can be sure they're doing anything they can to get to the top. And, of course, with Bill Cosby, it's no telling what he promised them. They believed it. So they went for it.
It's like some of them had like Stockholm syndrome. Like, how you going to take money from a guy that's been raping you supposedly for years,
well,
you know, sitting up in apartments and stuff?
Stockholm syndrome. They didn't have no Stockholm syndrome because it wasn't that kind of rape. Yeah, they participated. They ain't got no Stockholm syndrome, you know. Now we have it. We got
it. Right. We sure do. We got the good white people come play. But you know, well, Beverly Johnson, I thought was interesting when she said that she was familiar with the drug that she took. I mean, like, he talked about the free love. Oh, there was a free love period where everybody doing orgies and stuff like that. That was like, you know, that period.
Brother, that was the life then in the 60s and 70s. That's what everybody was doing out there in Hollywood.
Because
they're doing it now, but of course now they got better drugs. Now they got coke. It ain't
right.
They got way better drugs now, okay? And they doing the same type of stuff, and it's just more hidden, and they got more money and stuff now.
Yeah, but somebody, if I got drugs like that, I would go to the hospital instead of go back to my house. I mean, like, to me,
she been high before. She knew it wasn't gonna kill her. Hey, she knew she wasn't gonna die. She just had to leave it on. Yeah. and then the one woman said that she walked in the door carrying the barbecue. He flipped her around, and before she knew it, it was over with. Oh, really?
Oh, it's a good or bad thing for Bill.
Anyone who has done anything, okay, male or female, knows that to pull that off, that's not an easy thing. Especially if she's standing up at the door. That's not easy to do. So that's a lie. Okay, there's stories for women or men who have, had involvement sexually over their lifetime. Know that some of those scenarios sound a little bit impossible. Now, the ones where he drugged them, that ain't impossible, because if he gave them something and they knocked out, that's just it, You don't have no. But then, too, it's like the girl that went to Tyson's room. What are you going up to his room for at night?
It is Mike Tyson, right?
And dressing like they went in there dressing. Like I said, these was a bunch of hoes that, And what's that boy told us? These hoes ain't loyal.
Right, Chris Brown, you tell the truth, right?
Late in the history, they come. I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna get some money some kind of way, make something pay off. But if they had to line up all the men that they've been with, oh please, it was, and that's what probably is annoying Bill Cosby. Why me? He probably said to him, why me? Why would that? Why would they do this to me? Of all the guys they was with, because he the one with the money.
Right.
Yeah, and they have been successful. What's done in the dark, because they have destroyed his legacy. And he
it's interesting because his show was on everywhere in the world. It seems like it was on TV. Now he took it off the air, and like to me, white folks.
That's how they'll punish you.
But with their heroes, they do. Even Charlie Chaplin or somebody like Thomas Jefferson, they protect. They make thugs the heroes. White people do. They protect their people.
Yes, they do. We ought to take a lesson from that, because we turn on each other real fast. If we hear something or think something, we turn on each other really fast.
I noticed that. I noticed that social media that when Beverly Johnson came out, who the hell ever listened to Beverly Johnson before then? Like black folks said, it's a rap for Bill Cosby. The puddings and the Jello, some stuff like people were saying that on social media. Put a stick in it because there's a pudding pop and it's done. I'm like, what? Whoever listened to Beverly Johnson for? Like, I'm not knocking her, but when did Beverly Johnson become the black authority on everything?
And that was Sister Shahrazad Ali. I really enjoyed her. I mean, I think she's a fellow Taurus, and she said that thing about Dick Gregory and Bill Cosby. A lot of people getting their feelings about it. I don't know. I do know that Dick Gregory break came through who? Hugh Hefner, Playboy, and that Bill Cosby took his place because Bill Cosby said, without Dick Gregory, there'll be no me. A lot of these comedians, while Dick Gregory laid the blueprint out and he gave it all up for the movement in so many ways. So I don't see, that's gossipy stuff. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I really enjoyed her, Sister Ali. A lot of stuff that she talked about in terms of the books and stuff she wrote are coming to pass right now. It's something we got to deal with in terms of relationship between black men and black women and the black family. We are in crisis right now. Thank you, brother Shakim. Thank you for tuning in. We love you madly. Thank you. What grandma thinks about it. You consistent. Thank you for tuning in. And you right in Berkeley, because man, that's like all that activism and free love. You was in the epicenter, sister. People gotta understand that the government sponsored LSD parties, right? LSD was created by the U.S. government. Think about Fort Detrick, Maryland, LSD, anthrax. They used to have those LSD, them acid parties. That academic, I forgot his name. I can't think of his name right now, but I think that he was the godfather of Winona Ryder, the actress who got in trouble for being a kleptomaniac, allegedly. I think that's her godfather. But he was a guy, the CIA, they was all involved. We talked about the Beatles, the Beatles, why they was brought over to America to get the kids hooked on drugs. Because in 63, they killed Kennedy. In 64, they bring over the Beatles. Y'all got to look up this Tavistock Institute. It's a brother, a black media person, Flow of Wisdom, Sean Anthony, I think, Flow of Wisdom out of Columbus. He had Dick Gregory on his show some years ago, but he's on the same radio network or in the same radio network as Alex Jones. He did a series on the Tavistock Institute. His YouTube page is Flow of Wisdom. I listen to it from time to time. He have on this brilliant brother named Robert X from Chicago, a great researcher. I think Robert X got a Blog Talk radio show. I got to be me, Sammy Davis. Now that's interesting. Yeah, I remember her coming out. Lynette McKee was sexy. She was in JoJo Dancing, Your Life is Calling. Was it JoJo Dance? Was it JoJo Dance? Which Way is Up? She was in Which Way is Up, right? And also she was the wife of Wesley Snipes in Jungle Fever. Yeah, I remember Lynette McKee. Yeah, I remember her sister accusing Cosby. Sammy Davis, I got to be me. I got to be me. I had a mentor, Jegna, the late great Mr. Emerson Abel Jr. He used to work for Sammy Davis Jr. He told me some interesting stories about Sammy Davis. He told me Sammy Davis Jr. gave him a belt, his personal belt. He wore that belt. The first day he wore the belt, he walked outside, got hit by a car. He threw the damn belt away. He said, this dude he's the most unlucky motherfucker. He said he ain't want none of that luck that Sammy Davis Jr. had. He told me a story about how Sammy Davis Jr. got his act knocked out, but I'm just gonna leave it at this gossipy stuff. But he knew a lot of people. He used to work with Otis Redding, work with Isaac Hayes. He died 6 years ago. Yeah, Which Way is Up in Brewster Millions. Yeah. And also she was the wife of Wesley Snipes in Jungle Fever. Gator's brother. I do know that Sam Jackson, when he did that role as Gator, his guy out of rehab. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Sam Jackson would have been classified as a crackhead at one point. And when he did Jungle Fever, he was just out of rehab. Now he's like with the highest grossing movie actor of all time. His movies made more money than any other actor in the history of movies. I don't know. It's funny how God works, right? Yeah, there's a lot of interesting, but I mean, America is built on occult energy anyway. Yeah, because power is an aphrodisiac. Henry Kissinger, Dr. Henry Kissinger, I still can't believe this man is obese and he's almost 100 years old. He's still functioning. I think he's been cloned. Y'all know Dr. Henry Kissinger. He said that power was an aphrodisiac and he used to date supermodels and stuff. And this guy, he was no great looker. He was no Cary Grant, but he always had to pull with the ladies because he had the power. See, it's different for men. Men is about, it ain't about looks. It's about, do I have resources? If I'm distinguished or accomplished. Women, it is about the looks. They got to look a certain way. But men, we don't have to look like we don't have to have a six pack. We got to have a six pack in the fridge. But as long as we got the money in the bank and we got some type of recognition and respect in our field, you're gonna get that pull. I can believe that. Oh man. So I'm doing good on time. Let me see. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you people, man. I I remember Dick Gregory before he died and he came to Memphis. And one person's entourage was telling me about how these women would be like, these female fans were kind of crazy about Dick Gregory, one girl one time jumped in his vehicle as he was leaving the venue, allegedly. I was trying to like have sex. He said, "Man, where were you at 40 years ago, huh? Shit, I'm 80-something years old. I can't do nothing with you now." Some stuff like that. But I'm saying women come, "Man, I just want to screw you." I said, "Man, where were you at 40 years ago, bitch? I'm 80-something years old." Shit. Huh? But fans is fanatic. To be a fan is to be a fanatic. Is to resign logic to the benches, to the sidelines. When you're a fan, you're a fanatic. So you're not even thinking right. But anyway, let me see. I got some more Joe Brown. You know what? I met Sonia Sanchez, the great Sonia Sanchez, brilliant poet, activist from Philadelphia, like Bill Cosby, I believe. I had a chance to interview her along with some of her colleagues back in 2014 about the Cosby situation. And I want to play that now. And Sonia Sanchez is an interesting, beautiful woman, just a adorable little thing. But this big thing come in small packages. Small petite thing, but phenomenal, this amazing person and humanitarian. And I had a chance to talk to her about the Cosby thing, and I'm gonna play it right now, and about to close it out with some more commentary, because you got some more fuel for the fire, because people can. I got a problem with new black media. Some people talking about NBC was an urban legend. I met Ed Weinberger. I met him at Dick Gregory's funeral. I'm gonna have to find his phone number to get him back on the show, or to get him on the show. He gave me his personal phone number. Ed Weinberger helped, create the Cosby Show. Used to be a comedy writer for Dick Gregory and Bill Cosby. And he was also in the group, I think, that was trying to buy NBC from General Electric. But I'll try to connect with him. I can find his number. I can find it, actually. I'm one of them people. I know how to find people. I'm the finder. Or did call me the feeder. But anyway, I'm going to play this Sonia Sanchez interview I did with some of her colleagues about Cosby. You got to remind you, this is 2014. Like I said, I did that. Shahrazad Ali was 2015. The clip I played with Judge was 2015. Like I said, I've been on this Cosby thing for a long time. But anyway, this is We All Be. And you're also talking about Tiger Woods too. I mean, it's like what Eddie Griffin said, a black man is not allowed to lead his business without an asterisk. So beware, black man. They will taint your name. One up.
Ask not what we all be can do for you. Ask what you can do for we all be. And also, I want to ask you all, you don't have to answer it, whatever. I think it's very important when we talk about Black art movement, the Black arts movement. And you talking about Sister Sanchez, how some of our older leaders are disrespected or are being destroyed for whatever reason. I just want to get your take, you all's take about the situation with Bill Cosby, who we all know.
No, we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about. We have to wait and see what is good. That's what I meant when I was trying to say earlier. Mm-hmm. And I know it's because how easy it is to put things on, the web and whatever, et cetera. I think we as a people have got to learn how to wait and observe and see before we move and say, this and that. Because, all we've heard so far is that, one side of this one. At some point. And I think that at some point we move at such a fast pace sometimes to wipe people out. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I the older I get, the more I realize that when we were younger, you would jump up and say something very fast, right? Now at some point, I want to hear what truly is going on here. Let me hear all the facts. Let me hear from everybody at some point. Let me even ask some questions of people at some particular point and see, what is really going on in terms of our brother, our sister, his children, and other people also too, because I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a clear picture. All I know is that at some particular point, this thing broke, and then there was person after person after person after person. And, I know that one of the ways that people are destroyed is that they're destroyed through gossip. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We saw it with UNIA. One of the ways that was destroyed was through gossip, with people saying terrible things about Marcus Garvey, and so therefore, boom, you can move. So I don't know. What I'm hoping at some particular point is that we get facts on this one, that we get information on this, that we begin to move, in a different kind of way. And all I can hope is that, I'm just hoping at some point that, this is not all that it seems to be at this particular point. So that's all I'm saying. I need to be very careful right now about throwing out quick words about people. I don't, not just him, about anyone, anybody who comes up and someone begins to talk, I say to my students, we're not gossiping about that person. We're not going to talk about this until we get facts and more facts, okay? Because, I don't believe at some point that we have a right to participate, in the destruction of anyone, period, until the facts are very clear. And that's just, my opinion on this at this particular point. I think that we need very much to be very careful. And I do this with, I don't care what color you are, at some particular point, we need to really watch and see why this is being played out the way it's being played out at this particular point. I hope that makes some sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else like to chime in, or they just cool?
I feel very similar to the way Sonia feels. I'm a great believer in due process, and by due process I mean an honest process. Because I simply, all I know is basically what I read on the newspaper, or mostly on the internet, and I don't have any idea of how reliable any of that is.
Look, we have to. Look, you have a movement of black people moving in a direction, trying to make some change, and all of a sudden, the whole society is concerned about the sex lives of people. This country doesn't love women that much, that they care about them that much. So why then is it you switch from Ferguson in New York to talking about Bill Cosby and some women from 40 years ago, as if the society cares about the abuse of women? The fact is they don't. And all of a sudden now the networks, in fact, don't have any women on there that make any sense. So, who are basically people that are on there because they look a certain way, are now championing. And, it's, again, it's kind of like a distraction. I think, if it's an issue, then you deal with that as an issue. You don't say, well, I'm not going to deal with Ferguson and police brutality because somebody said Bill Cosby did something to some women 40 years ago. I mean, if that's not a distraction, I don't know what it is. And it's not to say, because I don't know. Like, I don't know what's happening, and thus far, what people have said doesn't make a lot of sense. But the way the media has substituted this for a discussion of the brutality against black men is just another way to say, no, they really are animals. You said, no, you think that they don't deserve to be shot? Well, look, here's one of your best. Let's go after him. And now you're saying, like, what do we think about Bill Cosby? Which is to say, is he really a maniac black man like all the rest of these people, right, who deserve to be shot? So it muddles up a discussion. It's at a time, that you're trying to get a clear picture about the way, race works in this country. And here you come, well, y'all ain't all that. Look at this. This is the kind of stuff that people sit holding a folder for like 40 years. Like this, these people weren't discovered like yesterday. It's like somebody says, okay, what do we have that we can use to stir up some mess? And say, well, let me get out the folder and dig up some stuff on. Well, we got this Cosby stuff. Let's try that, see how it works. It's like way over the top, way over the top, given the importance of the way race relations is being discussed right now. And I don't have enough faith in the media to think they want to have an honest discussion about race and power or anything else. So what sells is sex, and what sells the most in sex is black men and white women. Right? I mean, this has been true ever since Birth of a Nation. It's been true with, do you want your daughter to marry a Negro? And now we're saying, oh my God, Bill Cosby been raping white women. Like, I heard this before. Like, we've heard that black men were killed because of this kind of stuff. Right? This is justification for lynching with black men and white women. Right? And so it's not a surprise that when you have a movement of black people on the move, that all of a sudden the issue is now back on, they really do want your daughters. It's like, time out on that one. Like, so put this one on pause.
Yeah,
right?
put it on pause. Oh, yes. Put it on.
Okay, what is this? What is this?
And I think that we need to look at. We need to look at everything that comes. You have an audience, my dear brother. So when something like this comes up and people call and they want to start a conversation, you have power to say, look, let us examine this. Let us not just have a quick discussion of yeah, no, yes, no, whatever. But why? Let us examine why is this occurring now? What is happening in America now? What is happening racially, sexually, right, economically, and how all of a sudden does this man or this woman fit into this? Let's analyze this as opposed to responding emotionally, responding from the gut, as opposed to responding from the heart and the head, the intellect, okay? And that's the role we must play with people. No quick answers here, no quick responses here, no quick asides here, no sly remarks here, okay? But like, whoa, how did this happen? What date did this happen? What is happening in America that all of a sudden this should happen? And I think those are some of the questions we began to look at before we began to really examine what is happening here, with men and women in America, people that they consider important or leaders, okay?
Yeah, also, I want to go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, there is a situation with the abuse of women by people in power. Why is the example we're dealing with a black man?
That's a good question.
There's photos on like 1 million people you can pop up and say, oh, here's the record on so-and-so, Woody Allen or somebody. Why don't you have a panel of Woody Allen's, transgressions that people think, well, that's just Woody Allen. Well, whatever. We don't even know about that. So I'm saying this country, race and sex in this country are so intertwined that when you get, on national TV a discussion of black men and white women, that it's not going to be real. It's going to be way, way over the top, like the Tiger Woods thing, which is basically between him and his wife. I don't see why it's any of my business. Why is that my business what Tiger Woods does? Like, I don't get that. But, he had his whole golf thing got flipped upside down because of what? That he cheats on his wife. This makes him unusual among men in America.
And why did it happen at a time when he was getting ready to break one of the most important records? Huh?
That's right.
All of a sudden, it occurred at a time that all you heard from the commentators that, oh, Tiger's going to break this record. He's going to break that record. Now they're looking at him and laughing because he's not doing anything on the golf course. I'm just merely saying, at some particular point, we have to look at this with less emotion. And more, intellect and heart. Okay, what is happening to these men at this particular time in this place called America? At a time when people praise everybody. So whenever someone brings something to me that someone did something, I say, oh, I'm going to go talk to them about that. You can't gossip with me. I'm going to call them up. I'm going to go to their house, knock on their door, and say, is this true? Blah 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 blah. And if it is true, how can I help you?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I agree with it. Great point.
And that was the great Sonia Sanchez with her colleagues. I think I got the full video out there on We All Be TV, but that was from 2014. So that's 2014. And like I said, we've been covering this thing for a while. And you see, we're, I'm not trying to be biased, but we're pro-truth. I'm not just, I'm for Mr. Bill Cosby or Dr. Bill Cosby. We're pro-truth. Like Dick Gregory said, pray at noon for the truth to come out. The truth has finally come out. And the truth does not need friends. The truth is not a friend to anybody. The truth stands on its own. That's the truth. And so, like, we see now that there has been something going on with Cosby Like I tell people, Bill Cosby and Dr. J, they used to own a Coca-Cola bottling plant outside of Philadelphia, I believe. I find it interesting that both of these men lost their sons in very tragic and questionable ways. You know, they found Dr. J's son down the bottom of a retention pond in the suburb out in Orlando. I want to say back in 2000. Now, you think about, maybe it was at 97 when Bill Cosby's son Ennis was snuffed out on a 405 out there in L.A. Like my Jegna, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr. used to tell me, Ron, nobody dies of natural death in show business. Nobody dies of natural death in show business. And what Biggie said, you're nobody till somebody kills you. And they killed legacies. See, Ennis was Dr. Cosby's only son. His wife had 5 children, but that's his only son. They killed legacies. Kobe with his daughter, that's his basketball legacy because she the one was following his footsteps. You look at the Kennedys, they killed each other. What Bugsy Siegel said, he said, no, we only kill each other. So, I mean, nobody's immune to this stuff. So, I'm making a good time. So, let me see. I got one more video I want to play. And then we go, well, I got 2 more, but one more about the Cosby thing. This is Judge Joe Brown. Judge in the house, judge in the house. Like I said, I've been talking with Judge about this since 2015. Or, yeah, I think 2015. Yeah, January 2015. And we're going to play that clip, and then we'll keep it moving. We all be news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
And also, I want to ask you something, too, I think is very interesting, like your take on the Bill Cosby situation.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yes, sir.
See, I went to some of those parties back when. You walked in and they had a bunch of groupies, and these girls would take their tops and blouses off and run around topless in their panties trying to get laid. And then 40-some years later, they want to complain about it, and they kept going back over and over again.
What about Beverly Johnson, her confession in Vanity Fair, like her take on it? What do you think about that? Have you read that?
Yeah, I read it. More groupie nonsense. You know what this is showing?
What?
There's a new trend around the country that's showing up on major college campuses, and they want to change the definition of rape. They want to add a clause in there so rape is not just forcible rape, but if you seduce a woman, that's also rape. And they wanted rape that if you cause a woman to be sexually aroused so that she submits to sex, they want that declared to be rape. They want magazines, books, movies, TV shows labeled, warning, may be sexually arousing to young females. And they've even issued policies to various and sundry classes of freshmen. They tell the boys they have to ask 3 times. It's not okay to seduce a girl. You have to specifically ask, do you want to have sex before you start? Then once you're in the middle of the act, you're supposed to ask, is it okay to continue? And then before you come, you get to ask, is it okay if I finish now?
Wow.
Now, you know, that's getting really out of hand. And they want it so that if a girl submits to somebody and has sex with him and she feels remorse, the boy should be expelled from the school so she doesn't have to eyeball him the rest of her school career. See, that's all part of that little thing. You have to understand that Hollywood, the news media, all of this is driven by a select interest, an engine that has something they want to gain and a propaganda point they're trying to make. So when you get these, I think rape is one of the most horrible things going. But I was at some of these functions or parties, and what they're saying about what had happened is like that's why they came.
So you've been to the Playboy Mansion before, correct?
I have been invited.
So that's how it is, like a wild, free love.
Yeah, I've been to all of these Hollywood parties. See, I was classified as a militant. So you go to this mansion up in the Hollywood Hills, and they invite Students for Democratic Society, Black Student Union, Panthers, this kind of thing, Chicano activists, and all the wild radical people, so the rich can say, oh, my God, it's so exciting being in here with all of these radical students. And yeah, they'd have parties like that quite often. So,
wow. Well, I'm sorry.
The women would keep going. So, I mean, you know, if something happened to you, you go back.
What's your take when they say it was some underage girls at the Playboy Mansion, like the 15 or 16 years?
I don't know. There's no telling what may have happened. So, like, you worried about somebody being underage and they're going on 60 something now?
That's a good point. I mean,
give it a break. This was 45 years ago, and now your face doesn't work because you have had too much Botox. You're not going to make a comeback.
That's a good point. Well, I'm asking this: are you a person that's been in the industry, Hollywood, entertainment, and been in the legal arena as well? Do you think this is a type of conspiracy against Bill Cosby? Why would they do this?
Because Bill Cosby is a straight heterosexual African American man with too much bass in his voice.
Good answer. Wow.
And Judge, see, that's from January of 2015. So stuff that's been going viral lately, he's been on certain platforms. He's been saying this for over 6 years, Judge Joe Brown. So he's been very consistent in his advocacy for Mr. Cosby and for the truth. More importantly, it's for the truth and for reason. This mob justice, lynch mob mentality got to stop. It never served black folks to have lynch mob or mob rule in America. It never served us. Never benefited black folks. Always been against us. So I would hope, and I think that people are coming around. And I just thank God that Mr. Cosby, Dr. Cosby, was able to make it out that hellhole to celebrate his birthday with his loved ones. And before I close it out, like I have some other things I want to add into this sauce, into this gumbo. But I think, Dick Gregory, like I said, I don't miss Dick Gregory like a lot of people. So I miss Dick Gregory. I said, this dude talked to me all the time through people and movies and books and stuff, and through the weather and all that stuff. Dick Gregory always around. But I want to play what he said about Tulsa. He said this about Black Wall Street some years ago on my platform. So I want to play that, and then we'll close out the Cosby thing with some information y'all need to consider. You're making points about Cosby. This is what they do. I mean, as much as we love conspiracy theories as a people, you know what they did to Sam Cooke. You know what they did to Otis Redding, to Michael Jackson and Prince. Why not Cosby? And I think my problem is, as a people, I mean, I always don't want to talk about this on YouTube, on Facebook, and Instagram. There's a lot of stuff I don't talk about. And I don't think we all should be trying to figure out how to have a blueprint. Why are we exposing our blue? I mean, we ain't. It's like somebody asked about Neely Fuller Jr. And he made a good point about large numbers of black folks should not be gathered in any capacity without a clear plan of action and a vision. You should never have black folks idle among each other because we are our own worst enemies. That's why we make the best soldiers, because when we are focused on a goal, we come through with flying colors. But when it comes time to fight for us, we can't figure out what's the most important thing for us to try to fight for and even die for. But for anybody else, it's like to paraphrase Malcolm, you bleed in Korea for the white man, but you won't bleed for yourself in Mississippi. So let me play this Dick Gregory thing about Rosewood. Not Rosewood. That we love celebrate. We're gonna have, I guess, when Rosewood anniversary come up, we're gonna be a congressional Black Congress be dancing and hooping and hollering too, and playing the banjo on their knee. I mean, it's kind of strange how we acknowledge tragedy. We don't deal with trauma well as Black people. Therein the curse. Therein lies the curse. But yeah, Black Wall Street. This is from May the 16th, 2016. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
I heard some people yesterday on the radio 2 days ago talking about they're going to open up a business. Open up a business to the money business. See, we keep talking about stuff and we don't factor in racism and white supremacy because we're ashamed to admit what people did to us. We're ashamed to admit that the reason I don't look as beautiful as I always had when God put me here is because the rape of my woman. And I kept losing my trait and my beauty and crossbreeding. And any time you see a light-complected Negro, it wasn't because we was raping the slave man's daughter. He was raping my mama and my daughters. And so all at once that gorgeous blackness that I had from God gets watered down and watered down. You know, like you ever put a newspaper in a window and the sunshine on it, it turns brown?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what we're doing. That's what something else have intersected with me. Huh? And so what I'm saying is that when you stop and look, being Yahweh, when y'all remember the brother down in Florida?
Yes, sir.
Do you know he and his followers built up enough money, they owned $1 billion worth of property in Florida. Did you know that?
No, sir.
And then they put him in jail. And you think you gonna open up something in this country? Huh? No, Black Wall Street in Oklahoma?
Yes, sir.
Them black folks had hooked up with some Jews and some Indians and black folks, put their own company together. One black brother was making $100,000 a week royalties. And then the rednecks came and said, understand, y'all got the oil and stuff. We'd like to be part of it. And they said, you can't. And Monday, them crop dusters came in with dynamite and tried to blow them off the planet. Okay? And so when I hear black folks talking about what we got to do, we don't manufacture nothing. Well, look, if General Motors and the big time white boys who make trillions of dollars, if they stop manufacturing it, why you gonna start? Huh?
And there was Baba Dick Gregory from Wisdom from Beyond the Grave, the righteous ancestor, dropping their knowledge about Black Wall Street. How many of y'all knew about Black Wall Street in 2013? You know, and I believe that Bill Cosby actually did produce a documentary about Black Wall Street that came out in 2000s on HBO. I think I saw that on HBO, and that he was a producer in the Black Wall Street documentary. Because, like, you know, back in the early 2000s, they were trying to get reparations. They took Tulsa, Oklahoma to court, and, you know, Dr. John Hope Franklin, his father was an unsung hero, Buck Franklin, in saving the black people property and home after that massacre. Because people got to realize that Black Wall Street came back bigger and stronger and more successful than even in 1921. But what killed Black Wall Street was the system, was the end of Jim Crow, was eminent domain, gentrification, stuff like that. Negro urban removal. So we got to study that. People say, well, why are we studying the past? Because to paraphrase William Faulkner, the past is never past. We living in the past right now. We just don't know that because everything is on repeat. You know, until Black folks learn that lesson, we never gonna be free. And I people get caught up in the term Black and Native and Indigenous. We the original people, period. Because you look at that Coconut Revolution documentary, those are melanated people. We are the creators of civilization. We the parents of humanity. And we gotta stop acting like children in a state of arrested development and get with the program. It's time for us to get things back in order, starting with our own home. So this is, I guess, edutainment. Like I said, people going crazy over viral this and viral that. On this platform, I'm not saying we the only platform, but look, I've been having that conversation. The stuff y'all crazy about with Judge Joe Brown or Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, he been saying that since 2015 on my platform. And people are, well, So I've been hearing Judge Joe Brown for years and hours on hours. And people say, well, why don't you let Judge speak? I have let him speak for hours and hours and hours. Okay. It's like we did Gregory and Dr. Randy Short. I mean, the thing about it, if you study the past, you can actually practice free will if you want to repeat it or not. To me, I rather have the knowledge that, okay, I'm going to do the same thing we did before versus, oh man, I can't believe this is still happening. There's some weird stuff we be in. That's right, Sister Sunshine. Nothing new under the sun. They did it to Black people too that own that land. It's so much deep because I know Judge one time talked about a show that Black folks didn't own the land. Black folks did own the land. They did the same type of trick to Black folks who own the land. Our thing is we keep on trying to be fair in a system that's not fair. The system is not built on being fair. There's nothing fair about this system, especially relates to folks who don't benefit from the system not being fair. So we got to understand what we're dealing with. It's like I talked about Dr. John Hope Franklin. His father saved the Black people's home when they're trying to get Black folks out of Tulsa. He fought it in the courts. He was a lawyer. He lost everything in terms of his material wealth. He lost his home that he just purchased. He lost his law office. So they're working out of tents, taking on the powers that be to keep Black folks in Greenwood. And his father talks about in his autobiography how there was two World War I veterans. One was Black, one was white. They were talking to a group of Black men in Greenwood. They said, look, y'all can't fight these folks in a fair fight. They fight dirty. You can't gonna be able to get them out. What you got to do, because we learned this from trench warfare and fight overseas, over there, fighting over World War I, that you got to fight dirty, that you got to bring the battle to them, that you got to go into the white part of Tulsa and start setting their buildings, including their homes, on fire. So instead of them trying to run to Greenwood, they'll be too focused on trying to put the fire out in their own backyard. And Buck Franklin, Dr. John Hope Franklin's father, he told the man, do not do that. He was a lawyer, very persuasive guy. He said, we don't need to do that. That's not right. That's basically immoral. And he said that was the last night he saw those two World War I veterans. One was Black, one was white. That's the last night he saw them. He never saw them again. And they were right, because within 24 hours, Greenwood was devastated. And I'm going to tell y'all something we don't know. Black folks was actually winning, but then the Black men turned in their guns to the so-called authority, to the National Guard and to the law. It's mob rule. See, Black folks, we always still trying to play by the rules when the game is fixed. Just like with Ida B. Wells' friends, Thomas Mawson, the People grocery store owners, they had a right to defend their life and property. They was in a shootout with a white mob. The only reason they stopped is because they found out that some people in that mob were police officers. And when you got to understand, Black people, y'all too concerned about property getting burnt. All the riots and massacres in this country was started by some form of police misconduct. when the law don't respect the law. That's how these riots get started and these massacres. When the law does not respect the law or uphold the law. I'm right across the street from the epicenter of the Memphis race massacre, which was started by white police officers. They burned down the black section of Memphis, burned down the churches and the schools and everything. These are white police officers that initiated this thing. Okay, so there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, I was sitting next to Jesse Jackson at a bar at this hotel airport in St. Louis. This is the same time when people say they ran Jesse out of Ferguson. They ran Jesse, this is around the Mike Brown thing. And Jesse, like, you know, whatever you think about Jesse, like Baba Dick Gregory said, Jesse is one of the finest minds on the planet. He's a brilliant. Jesse ain't no stupid idiot. He's smart. He's very smart. And I remember Jesse was sitting at the bar, said, all this stuff is called. Because we were looking at to see if the activists and the people who were in the street was going to obey the curfew they had that Sunday, the Sunday curfew, to get out, you know, get back in your homes after a certain point in dark. You know, I think it was midnight. I don't know when it was, but he was mumbling to himself, all this stuff that started by police misconduct, police brutality. I said, I didn't think about it like that. So you start researching, you find out that's true. This is when the law don't respect the law, when all this stuff goes down. So let's talk about, speaking of that, and Cosby was violated. There's no technicality. He never should have been tried. He had a deal. I remember back in 2014, 2015, I was telling Dick Gregory, I read somewhere where he said he had a deal through the email with the prosecutor. And Dick was the same way he said, you know, Dick talked about Black Wall Street. You know how Dick Gregory get down. We don't have no community. We have neighborhoods. So let me see something. Because we got to repeat stuff. You know, you learn through repetition. Because he said, well, so-and-so always repeat himself. Because he got to repeat himself because it might be a new person listening for the first time. Or sometimes we need reminders. You learn through repetition. See, people keep on saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Now, that's the definition of practice, of learning. That's how you learn. You practice. You do the same thing over and over again until you understand it. It's not no definition of it. It's insanity when you don't think you need to do that in order to learn and to become better at your craft. Show y'all something. Y'all never forget this. Because it's hard to find this stuff now. Not what I want to show. It's hard to find a lot of these things now. Because they scrubbing the internet. They changing the narrative. They controlling the history. So I shared it on one of my podcasts a couple years ago about this. I can't believe almost 2 hours in. I'm about to close it down. Just trying to thank y'all for being patient. Okay, I think I found it. Got a lot of tabs open. I always keep a lot of tabs open. This right here. Try to find this, screenshot it, whatever, share it with your networks. This basically show you what they did. And okay, I got myself in. I'm about to mute myself out this thing. That's the op-ed you're looking at that Dr. Camille Cosby wrote back in March of 2014. It came out back in March 10th, 2014. Sherburne Falls and West County Independent. I believe that's a newspaper in Massachusetts. And I'm going to read it. Remember, this came out in March of 2014. And by the end of 2014, Bill Cosby was facing the new rape allegations, right? This is when they was got with the environmental activists to take on Kinder Morgan, one of the large, giant energy corporations. I'm going to read it, but remember, this came out March 2014. And remember what happened at the end of 2014, because this around the time Bill Cosby had that multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix, about to do this, sold out or very popular comedy tour that got canceled and all that stuff. So I'm gonna read this and then we'll keep it moving. But you can find this and save this stuff because they're scrubbing all this information off the internet, and they know why. I haven't scripted my class. I don't know. I got backups of my stuff. I don't know what they doing. Sometimes they remove some of my videos. I mean, they removed Dick Gregory video, Randy Short video, Dr. Randy Short video, and Judge Joe Brown video. But I back my stuff up to the best of my ability. I got backups and clouds and stuff. But sometimes things get lost in the mix. It is what it is. But ignorance is not bliss. We must galvanize against another encroacher, a proposed $341 million gas pipeline through the region. Okay, y'all heard what I just said? Y'all heard what I just said? Okay. My family and I have been residents of this beautiful bucolic area since 1971. Throughout the years, we have purchased numerous acres, not for assets, but solely for the preservation of the magnificence of nature. Moreover, we have assigned hundreds of our acreage to the Franklin Land Trust for conservation. I know that there are many conscientious activists in these hill towns. Walter Knofsky is an excellent example of someone who has implemented a continual push for truthful information about the devastating human and environmental issues pertaining to industrial wind turbines. The public needs the truth to counter particular companies' repetitive, common, untruthful spiel, such as improving the quality of lives and job opportunities. Now, there is another encroacher on the horizon with the customary promises that each community's citizens will benefit from the installation of its gas pipelines, because as it states, there is a demand for class-burning natural gas in the northeastern United States. Of course, there isn't any mention of a plan to develop much-needed clean energy, such as from the sun, but the plan, as reported in the media, is to spend $341 million on what is labeled as its Northeast Expansion Project. The encroacher, the Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company, a subsidiary of the Kinder Morgan Corporation or Company, has a modus operandi to transport gas that has been extracted from our Earth's shale rocks with a mixture of high-pressure water, sand, and unknown chemicals. The federal government does not require the disclosure of those chemicals to release the gas from the shale rocks. This process is called fracking. I, as well as many of you, have received the Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company's Massachusetts fact sheet, which propagandizes it as a good corporate citizen and dedicated to protecting the public and the environment. Question: isn't fracking an oxymoron to protecting the environment and the public? Haven't fracking and installation of gas pipelines destroyed wetlands, flora, fauna, clean air, drinking water sources, and created an immense accumulation of toxic waste? Look at what has happened in New Jersey, Delaware, Texas, and several other states that have experienced perverse human and environmental consequences from gas pipelines. How will the pipelines affect property values and homeowners' insurance policies? What are the possibilities of explosions and or gas spillage from the pipelines? Do you think that a company that prioritizes lucrative returns to its shareholders, thus to itself, instead of prioritizing respect for humans and environments, in addition to generating large amounts of profits, is going to care about our nation's populations, except as consumers? I hope that the aforementioned questions will be researched to activate thoughts balanced with facts, which might enable galvanization against an encroacher that has power only if we, the public, give it our consent and support. Of course, the Tennessee Gas Pipeline can try to seize any of our properties by asking the federal government to exercise the U.S. Constitution's eminent domain, Fifth Amendment, but we, the people, can reciprocate by not being consumers of TGP's products. Instead, businesses cannot exist without our dollars. Ignorance is not bliss. As my father, who was a chemist, repeatedly stated to me in my childhood, the evidence is the truth. Dr. Camille Cosby is a Shelburne resident and longtime land conservationist. Okay, so there you have it. There you not just network, but they get in the way of these people, big energy people, and the Cosbys own all that land, and they in the way. See, y'all think it's about women. This country never cared about women. Women, you know how many women go missing? I don't, because the country doesn't care about women. They don't care. I remember when with Don Imus, I used to listen to Don Imus on MSNBC because he helped me understand how white America really saw black people, how they think about black people in particular. Yeah, I know y'all remember this situation with the Rutgers girls basketball team or women's basketball team, and one of his co-hosts said nappy headed hoes, and Imus repeated. He didn't say it, he just repeated. They're like nappy headed hoes. You know, no, Imus was like a drunk or whatever. I don't know where he was allegedly, but he got into trouble. And really, they didn't care about the black girls being disrespected or black women being disrespected. It was up to the sponsors. See, the sponsors stopped pulling the advertising. They don't care about humanity and women. They care about money and power. We are all collateral damage. Bill Cosby is not only a philanthropist, but also he's a humanitarian. Him and his wife, they have done a lot of things to promote the culture. You know how much? Because people said he almost spent 3 years in prison. And you got to think about, they've been harassing him. Go back to 2014, right? Because he never should have been brought up on charges from Andrea Constant because he had to deal with the previous prosecutor. But they took 7 years of Bill Cosby's life. I mean, he could have been giving money to institutions to promote black people in education. He could have been promoting and supporting cultural things like the arts, they got an amazing black art collection. They even, I believe, around the time all this crap started coming up, they lend their art collection, part of their art collection to the African American History Museum, the Smithsonian. And then, like, I think they were getting interviewed by the media, and they started bringing up the allegations, doing an interview for them donating their art collection to the African American History Museum that opened in 2016. But what I'm saying is, these folks don't play fair, and they play dirty, and they play for keeps. Y'all keep on thinking, y'all worry about what Dak Prescott making, how much money Jerry Jones making. He ain't playing no football. The folks y'all think they make too much money. A lot of them can't even recall they played football. A lot of them can't even walk out there playing football. Y'all mad about so and so making multi-million dollars. You know, doing last year, you talking about basketball, foosball, whatever. The owners made a killing. You thought the season was ruined. They made Steve Ballmer. Check out how much money he made. You know, this guy started with Bill Gates at Microsoft, right? He owned the Clippers. He made billions of dollars last year. When y'all can't afford to pay rent, let alone groceries and light bill, they making billions and billions of dollars off your misery. And y'all worry about if so-and-so gonna win a championship. Who gives a damn? Who cares? But what I'm saying is, I'm showing you these breadcrumbs, and this article used to be easy to find. Now, some of the websites that had the article on it, you can't find them no more. The search results have been limited, but that gives you an idea how sinister these people are that we dealing with. Y'all keep on begging the devil for mercy, and the devil is only qualified to give you more hell. Yeah, and y'all check out what happened to John McAfee. That stuff is strange, man. That stuff is weird. And the media try to make him look like he crazy, but he was crazy like a fox. I don't be surprised he faked his death. But I think that's no. Yeah, I'm right. In Arkansas, I'm right across the bridge from Arkansas, and they do fracking over there. And we on the New Madrid fault line. I know California, I got y'all fault line. We got our New Madrid fault line. The last big earthquake we had, was around 1812. It formed Real Foot Lake, and it was so powerful it made the Mississippi River run backwards. And they've been doing fracking for years over here. You could feel tremors every now and then because of the fracking. So I mean, they don't care about us. Like Michael Jackson said, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us, and that's true. So while we gotta be good stewards towards each other, we gotta be our brothers and sister keeper. And there's a time for that. Stop letting these folks manipulate your emotions to hate your brother, hate your sister, and hate yourself. Yeah, she sounds she's an intelligent black woman. So it's too much stuff going on. I'm just got hip to the McAfee stuff. I heard about it, in passing, but I saw some videos recently. I think yesterday. I said, "Man, that's just intriguing." I won't be surprised this guy was in intelligence, U.S. intelligence or whatever, Mossad. I don't know. Weird. I mean, long as she had that dead man switch still around, they say he had like a lot of data. But anyway, I think that's enough. I'm gonna see something else. I'm gonna look at that. I got a lot of tabs open. I'm just trying to figure out. I know we've been over here 2 hours. Oh yeah. And then y'all have a reminder, these folks don't play. They play for keeps, man. They don't play fair and they play for keeps. Just a reminder. You see that? They don't try to eminent domain that man's property. This is like an old story, but it's not old because the fight is not over. They don't play fair. It's been updated from on January 7, 2019, first posted April 4th, 2016. April 4th is the anniversary death date of Dr. King getting assassinated in Memphis. Yeah, sprawling Franklin County property belonging to the comedian Bill Cosby is posted at regular intervals with red and white signs telling the Kinder Morgan subsidiary Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company to stay away. No survey for gas pipeline, the sign reads. Entry upon this property by Tennessee Gas, Hatch, Moat, and McDonough and their agents will be considered trespass. Neighbors and police, please take notice. All violators will be prosecuted. Hatch, Moat, and McDonough is the national firm chosen by Kinder Morgan to provide engineering services for Tennessee's proposed 420-mile Northeast Energy Direct natural gas pipeline. Cosby is one of more than 400 Massachusetts landowners resisting the company's attempt to conduct surveys for the pipeline, which would convey natural gas from the Marcellus shale fields of Pennsylvania into the heart of New England and perhaps beyond. Camille and William Cosby, then of Beverly Hills, first brought their Shelburne property on Bardwell's Ferry Road in 1971, and over the years acquired hundreds of acres for conservation and privacy. The compound in Shelburne, where the public is not welcome, overlooks the quick flowing Deerfield River with its steep and rocky banks. If you're not invited, do not pass through these gates. Carved wooden signs announcing various driveways into the property. Now, Tennessee proposes to use the Cosby family's lower driveway as a temporary access road for survey work in connection with the pipeline, and later wants to use the part of the property as a work area. Documents show part of the land is traversed by a Northeast Utilities power line right of way, which Tennessee plans to widen to create an additional corridor for its pipeline project. What they do. So y'all can read that. Y'all can find all this stuff. They think about the Bundy Ranch thing out west. They had a standoff with the government, right? And nothing happened to them, right? But look at the Cosby situation. They put this man in jail on some fraudulent BS. Try to get his land. And for all you, I'm sorry, you people, I keep on talking about it's an urban legend that Cosby tried to buy that he tried to buy NBC. He tried to do it several times. Just do a quick look on the internet, and you'll figure it out. I'm gonna give y'all crumbs and stuff, but you figure it out if you're smart enough. And my thing is, the question I always have is, what can we do? I mean, there's a lot of information on Bill Cosby trying to stop this gas pipeline from being built. But anyway, I guess that's enough, man. Okay, thank y'all for tuning in, for being patient. We love you madly, the moderators, donators, everybody who shared this information. I'm just providing y'all with some receipts. You know, we've been in this game of trying to get the truth to the matter of what happened to Mr. Cosby since 2014. So I gave y'all the receipts. Y'all can listen to it online on WeAllBTV on YouTube. And thank y'all for encouraging me to keep on keeping on. Now, I just don't feel like doing shows, but I had to do a show tonight because we got to do this. We got to tell our stories. We got to tell our stories. We got to tell it from our perspective. We got to reclaim the narrative. We got to start pounding into these people's consciousness and psyche that we not going nowhere. We want what we want. We demand, we insist that we be treated with respect. And that, you know, and that we do whatever we got to do to get that respect for ourselves, self-respect. I'm not talking about respect from people who can't respect themselves. I'm talking about respect of self, knowledge of self. So thank y'all. Like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. We all BTV on YouTube. Support the movement. You can cash out your support, $R2C2H2. So PayPal, Google Pay, Zelle your support, r2c2h2@gmail.com. You can also Vimo your support at r2c2h2. You can buy Artivist art, r2c2h2.com. You can even wear Artivist art. This is my shirt, Second Lieutenant Albert Young, Tuskegee Airman from Memphis, who is a national hero in the Czech Republic, where he died, unfortunately, doing a tragic plane crash. And he's a national hero, but Memphis don't even acknowledge this man. This man got a monument in the Czech Republic. It just created a new monument for him in the Czech Republic. And I could, you know, we try to contact people, Memphis in May, and what else? Memphis Bicentennial. None of these folks will acknowledge this man. So this is what Black folks deal with. We make the ultimate sacrifice and we still get disrespected by our own country. But a prophet is always without honor in their country, in their home, and among friends and family. So that's a biblical thing. But you can buy this shirt and many more shirts. This is called Forever Young on our Teespring website. You can look at the shelf below the description box. If you're on YouTube, click that shelf. You get access to all the shirts I got out there so far. So I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the movement by purchasing gear, by donating, by buying art. We love you madly. And let me, if I get out of here. Okay, I'll show this right quick. Just a reminder for you people that think it's a fairy tale that Bill Cosby been trying to buy this NBC thing. That's the Independent. This came out October 23rd, 2011. Okay. We'll read quickly through here. Cosby tries again to buy NBC network, not for sale, says General Electric, but bid is prepared. Comedian Bill Cosby is again assembling a bid to buy NBC, the American television network that for many years carried his programs, despite protests by its owners, the U.S. General Electric Corporation, that is not for sale. Okay, there you go. Y'all can look all this stuff up. So it's been proven. And the thing about General Electric and these corporations, they don't even pay taxes. But the Supreme Court said that these corporations are people like you and I. They're individual, but they don't pay taxes. You know, y'all crazy over Richard Branson and Elon Musk and Bill. These folks get corporate welfare. Elon Musk get billions of dollars from the government. He does not have to worry about paying back. If you get one thing wrong, your income tax, you don't report a couple $1,000, they want to destroy your life. Joe Louis gave the government $1 million. They still destroyed Joe Louis using the IRS. But yeah, y'all think these folks are y'all heroes? Oh, they Elon Musk and Richard Branson. Yeah, but I think James Brown is more impressive than Richard Branson and Elon Musk, considering where he had to come from. You know, I'm more impressed with Master P than I am with Bill Gates. See, we were powerful people. They give us the least of everything. We make the most of it. And then they want to take it once we make the most of it. Or we just give it away. But anyway, I don't want to hold y'all up. Let me read this disclaimer. Man, I'll be on here all night talking about this stuff. But let me see. I'll read the disclaimer. Thank y'all for tuning in, though. I appreciate it. Like I said, sometimes I just feel like people want to hear from me. I say everybody's talking, and I mean, I'm not that important. But let me read this disclaimer. The views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. And thank y'all once again for being very patient with me as I navigate my way through this thing called life. And hopefully I have done more good than harm. So thank you so much for tuning in. And I think you could sue for malicious prosecution, but we'll talk to some legal experts about that. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Y'all love y'all madly. So y'all take care. Yeah, G-Boo, come on to Memphis, man. I don't know. I might make it to New Orleans before you make it to Memphis, though, to be honest with you. I think I got that spirit of my maternal grandfather. He was a member of the Red Ball Express, because I got drive. Like, I drove from 18 hours to get back home from the East Coast. I took an hour or two break, but I was on the road for 18 hours. I love driving. And I think that's from my grandfather, who was a member of the Red Ball Express, the same group that included Mega Evans. So anyway, I'll let y'all go. We love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing, and pray for the truth to come out every day at noon. Take care. We love you madly. It's never goodbye. It's just until the next time, Sister Betty. We love you madly. Thank you, Sister Rosalind.